Listen, it's important that you understand what's happening around you in the marketplace. There are three very powerful forces that have converged over the last 18 months and landed themselves in this year. These three forces have created a business environment most operators don't even recognize yet. I said at the start of this year, if you attended my New Year kickoff strategy session, that this is the year economists are calling a quote unquote hinge year. Now, what's a hinge year, you ask? A hinge year is where A, an accumulation of changes builds up, and then the compound effect of those changes converges on a single year. That is this year. And then B, it is when that 1 year becomes what defines your next 5, maybe your next 10, likely the trajectory of your entire future. So what that means for you is this, that this is the year where the gap between operators with the infrastructure to compete on speed and those without becomes permanent. I'm not saying the gap becomes harder to close here. I'm saying the gap becomes unclosable. So here's what we're going to break down. The three forces creating that gap. Now, what I'm about to show you will probably make you angry. Not at me, but at the years that you spent believing the solution was to work harder. It wasn't, and nobody told you. If you're taking notes, this is where you want to start writing, okay? Force number 1, the complexity threshold. You've probably felt this without being able to name it. There's a moment where your business crosses a threshold, and everything that used to work stops working. When you're small, what is called founder centrality is your edge. You make all the decisions. You know every customer. You know every process. You can out hustle your bigger competitors because everything runs through you. That works beautifully until you hit the ceiling. And for most businesses, that ceiling hits around 3 to 5 million in revenue, sometimes closer to 10 million, depending on your margins. And then suddenly, every new customer adds exceptions to your process. Every new employee adds coordination overhead. Every new tool adds integration complexity. Every new regulation adds compliance burden. Complexity compounds faster than human bandwidth can compensate. Let me say that again. Complexity compounds faster than human bandwidth can compensate. You used to be able to keep it all in your head, make every decision, review every proposal, handle every exception. What used to feel like leadership now feels like being the human router for everything. Does that sound familiar? All right, so now with all that, you're not leading anymore. You're processing. And no matter how smart you are, no matter how hard you work, no matter how many hours you put in, you hit terminal velocity. Your bandwidth maxes out, and after that, requests get delayed, details get dropped, quality goes down, and you start to resent your own business. I was talking with a business owner just last month, a $6 million business. He has 22 employees, good operator, smart guy, works 70 hours a week. He said, Darren, I have 57 unread text messages, 200 emails, 6 proposals waiting for my review, and I haven't had an uninterrupted conversation with my wife in 3 weeks. And the worst part, he said, I know that if I take a couple of weekdays off, everything stalls. And then I come back to chaos and catch up. Anybody relate with that? That is the complexity threshold. You've hit the limit of what is called founder centrality. And here's where most operators point fingers at the wrong stuff. They think that it's a discipline problem, or a time management problem, or a delegation problem. You might be surprised to learn it is none of those. It is a business system architecture problem. Your business is still architected like it's a $2 million company where everything runs through you, but the complexity load is more like 14 million. Hey, something's got to give. And guess what usually gives? Yeah, your margins, your team, your health, your family, your business value. Hey, look, this isn't about you failing. This is you hitting the natural limit of centralized control. Everybody catching on to what we're talking about here? Okay, good, because that's just the first force. Now let me show you the second one. And this is the one that is creating the fastest separation in the marketplace right now. Force number 2, the intelligence divide. Here's what's happened. While most operators weren't paying attention, AI stopped being a curiosity. But most businesses are still using AI like a toy. ChatGPT as an answer engine for drafting emails or writing summaries or for brainstorming ideas. But this year, everything changed. The companies leading the marketplace right now, they're not using AI as a tool anymore. They're using it as infrastructure. Let me make sure that this distinction is real clear, okay? Because this is the game. AI as a tool means if you ask it questions, it gives you answers, but you still have to do the work. It's like saying to AI, draft this email for me, and AI gives you a draft and you review it, you edit it, and you send it. You saved 10 minutes, but you're still the bottleneck. AI as infrastructure means you give it the process, you give it the architecture, and it runs the process for you, and you just get the results. It's like telling your assistant, here is our hiring system, here is what good looks like, here's how we qualify, interview, and onboard, and then every resume gets scored, unqualified applicants get screened out, qualified ones get scheduled, interview prep gets generated, offers go out, onboarding begins, all with the status updates and checkpoints to inspect what you expect, but the work is done without your involvement. That's the difference. Write it down like this. A tool helps you work faster. Infrastructure does the work. That's the difference, okay? That's a key distinction. Here's what makes this urgent right now. A new form of AI called agentic AI is now practical for small businesses, for mid-sized teams, for you. So you ask, what is agentic AI? Okay, it's simple. It's AI that completes tasks, not just answers questions. Not just help me write an email, run my entire lead follow-up pipeline. Not just summarize this customer conversation, respond to the customer, update the CRM, and alert the team. Not just generate ideas, execute deliverables. Here's a real example, okay? Fred here runs a $9 million HVAC company, 89 technicians, busy guy. He was spending 20 hours a week just on hiring. He tried ChatGPT for job descriptions, saved him 90 minutes. Then Fred installed the new infrastructure that I'm talking to you about here. Now, instead of using AI to write job posts, he had a full AI supercharged hiring system that reviewed every resume using scoring criteria, pre-screened with intelligent assessments, auto-scheduled qualified candidates, sent reminders, delivered decision reports. While Fred's competitors were still taking 20 hours to hire, Fred's process only took 3. Fred was now 6 times faster for the same output and with a whole hell of a lot less effort. Not because Fred or his team got any smarter, not because they cared more, but because they crossed the intelligence divide. They stopped seeing AI as a helper and started using it as infrastructure. Now, here's what scares me, okay? If your competitors made this shift 60 days, 6 months ago, their AI systems are already running. They're already optimizing, and they're already compounding the gains as we speak. You can't make up 6 months of optimization in a weekend. You can't make up the margin once they've claimed it. That's why I hope that you take action on the prescription that I'm going to give you coming up here, okay? So that's the intelligence divide, and it's widening every single day. All right, are you ready for the third force? This one, by the way, is the one that makes the first 2 existential. Are you ready? Okay. Force 3 is the prosperity paradox. Let me show you what's probably happening in your business right now. You're making more revenue than you did 3 years ago, right? And you're probably working harder than you did 3 years ago, right? But, and be honest with yourself here, are you taking home more profit? Are you putting more cash in the bank? Are you spending more time with your family? Are you more free than you were in 2021, 2022? Right. I didn't think so. That's what I call the prosperity paradox. And it's crushing businesses in the $1 to $50 million range. Why? How? Well, here's what happened, okay? The traditional model was more revenue equaled more profit equaled more freedom. It was a nice, clean, linear relationship. But that equation broke. Now it looks like this. More revenue equals more complexity equals more overhead equals the same or less profit and less freedom. Let me show you the math, okay? Labor costs are up 20 to 30%. Benefit costs are up 15 to 25%. Insurance costs are up 20 to 40%. Subcontractors, more expensive. Tools, software, equipment, all up. Everything on the cost side of the equation is up. Meanwhile, your pricing power, stuck. You can't raise prices 30 to 50% that you need to cover it. Your customers will bail on you. So you're in this squeeze. Costs are scaling faster than revenue. Margins are getting chewed up. Cash flow is tighter. And the only way most operators know how to solve capability problems is what? Yeah, they hire. You generate more jobs, so what do? You hire more people. You generate more clients, so what do? You hire more people. You generate more leads, so what do? Hire more people. And that used to work when you had 25 to 30 or 45% margins. But now your margins might be 12%. So adding 80 grand in payroll to capture $100,000 in revenue, that doesn't work anymore. You know it. You have probably experienced it. You're growing your top line, but your take home is flat or down. You're still looking good on paper, revenue-wise, but you're broke in cash and net income. And here's the worst part, okay? If the business only works when you are grinding, you don't have a business. You don't have an asset. You don't have a freedom machine. You have a very demanding, high liability job. Economists have a name for what's happening this year, and they call it decaf stagflation. Sounds ridiculous, right? But here's what it means. Growth is anemic. Inflation is sticky. Interest rates are high. Margins are compressed. Customers are hesitant. What's the translation to all that? You can't grow your way out. You can't hustle your way out. You can't hire your way out. The only way out is operational efficiency. So that, my friends, is the prosperity paradox. Success that doesn't scale, growth that doesn't free you, revenue that doesn't create value. And if your infrastructure isn't built right, more revenue just means more pain. So let's recap here, okay? The three forces converging right now are: one, the complexity threshold. You've hit a limit of what founder centrality can handle. Force two, the intelligence divide. AI shifted from a tool to infrastructure, and the clock is ticking for you to get on board. And then force number three is the prosperity paradox. Revenue is up, but profit, freedom, and business value are down. These three forces have created what I call the velocity trap. You're being asked to move faster with less overhead and higher quality all at once. And you can't solve for it by grinding harder. You're already grinding, I know. What you need is speed through systems, not sacrifice. That is the only path left. Did you catch that? That's the money line here. Speed through systems, not sacrifice. That's what you're after.